Hey everybody, welcome back. As we've seen in the previous episodes, we've got everything stripped down now into a million pieces. The next step to get the car ready is to get the chassis ready to start bolting some parts to. These chassis are made out of 4130 chrome moly tubing. There's a few various different sizes of diameters and wall thicknesses used. As a general rule, we don't paint or powder coat these cars, and the main reason for that is they go through a lot of stress, whether it's on a run, the vibrations we get from tyre shake, even just bouncing down the road in the trailer going to and from the racetrack. Sometimes we get a little bit of cracking around some of the welds, and if you have the car painted or powder coated, it's a little bit hard to see those cracks until something actually fails. The downside of keeping the car unpainted, just a natural finish, is constantly cleaning with Scotch-Brite and CRC WD-40. So that will be our next step. Okay, so the front of the car's all done. Giving it a good clean up with the Scotch-Brite and wipe some CRC over the top of it, just to prevent a bit of surface rust. As these cars don't have any suspension on the front end, no springs and shock absorbers, we just have our A-arm mounted here. The front half of the car is our suspension, and it's a balancing act between making it stiff enough that it doesn't just wander around with a mind of its own, but also enough flex that when you turn the steering wheel, something happens. Probably doesn't come as a shock when you've got 17-inch wide tyres on the back and 5-inch tyres on the front. These cars tend to understeer a lot, but you do want some response when you turn the steering wheel. Generally, if the car starts moving around, you've really got to fight it to keep it in the middle of the lane. There's a few different ways that people get that flex in the chassis. One option is to have a slip joint, which is where these uprights are welded to a bigger diameter tube, which slides over the frame rail. And that just allows the top and bottom frame rails to move independent of each other. Some builders build the car with a gap between this upright, which sits under the motor plate, and the uprights that go to the front end to allow the car to flex. Some build it with two diagonals and an upright, smaller tubing. I've just kept it simple with one diagonal, slightly thicker tubing. Time will tell how well the car handles. Top and bottom frame rails where the A-arms mount are 1.25" 058 chrome moly tubing. As we move back, we have these telescopic joints to step up to bigger and thicker tubing for the back half where the driver sits. This also gives us the option, as the car ages or if we damage the front end, that we can put a front half on the chassis. We just cut through there, and new tubing on the front. And that should hopefully bring it back to how it was when it was a new car. So back half of the car's all done now. This half of the car it's pretty heavily controlled by our SFI rules. This car's built to the SFI spec 10.1E, and that sort of mandates all of the tube sizes, the diameters, the wall thicknesses, the placements. So we've gone from 1.25" 058 at the front with the telescopic joints. We've gone all the way up to 1.5" 065 on the top frame rail and 1 3/8" 058 on the bottom rail. Roll cage 1 5/8" 085 wall. So the back of the car here, it's a lot stiffer, a lot more rigid than the front half. We're trying to eliminate as much flex as we can back in this area. Two reasons for that: obviously, primarily driver safety. We also don't want to have any wasted energy. We don't want the torque from the engine twisting the chassis, loading the tyres unevenly, and trying to steer the car, torque steer the car. So now that we've got a clean chassis, we've gone through and added all these yellow cable ties. These are all the tabs, brackets, tubes that have been tacked in and haven't been fully welded yet. I have enough trouble welding things when they're right in front of my face, let alone out of position under a roll cage. So now that all the weight's been taken out of it, we can turn the car over and finish off all this welding. Okay, so all the welding on the chassis is finished now. We had exactly not much gas to spare. Next step now is to start working through all of these parts, and then we can start assembling a race car. If you've got any questions about the chassis, feel free to drop it in the comments. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.